Hi everyone. So at this point we know that procrastination really boils down to us avoiding important work in favour of some easier distraction. And we know that breaking down really big tasks into small ones is a way of attacking them more easily. The final thing for us to do is to figure out ways to start a task, stay on that task, and to make sure that we use breaks to keep ourselves energized and concentrating. We'll first outline a 5-second rule to help us get started, and then we'll explore some strategies that'll help us smash procrastination. In the spirit of things, let's jump straight in. Since procrastination is about avoiding discomfort for our present self, having a rule that forces us to get right into it is a great way to nip procrastination in the bud. This is where the 5-second rule comes in. The rule essentially says that when we have an instinct to act on a goal, we need to physically act upon it right then within 5 seconds. Otherwise, our brain can get distracted and kill our motivation. There's basically a 5-second window where we have a good opportunity to jump on things. This type of decision making uses the intuitive part of your brain that doesn't think twice before doing something. For example, if a lion was chasing you, you wouldn't wait, you'd run for the hills. Even though getting an assignment done isn't quite like getting chased by a lion, there is a benefit to quick decision making. If we jump straight into things, we can sometimes surprise ourselves that we've actually now been working for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and it all started with that initial action in that 5-second window. So we start working, and after a while we feel ourselves fading, or we feel like it's time for a break. In other parts of the course, we talk about the importance of taking breaks and how to take really good ones. And let's get this absolutely clear. Taking breaks is extremely important. Otherwise, we run the risk of burning out and losing our ability to concentrate. What we want to avoid, though, is turning these small breaks into something that drags on and gets in the way. So how can we achieve this? Probably one of the more famous ways to beat procrastination is called the Pomodoro Technique, which helps us balance study and rest breaks. Breaks act as a reward, as well as being necessary to help us recover our concentration. But we want them to be deliberate and helpful. It can be tempting to turn a 10-minute break into a TV binge-watching session. But this technique steps in and helps to prevent us from slipping into procrastination. It's essentially based on the idea that humans work best when we concentrate for short, intense periods of time with small breaks in between. During this 25-minute burst of concentration, we really need to use it well so we can be productive, and then we can take a 5-minute break after that. During this break, we can make a cup of tea, stretch, do some breathing exercises, or anything that disconnects our mind, so preferably not scrolling social media or YouTube. After 4 rounds of concentration and breaks, we take a longer break, lasting 15 to 20 minutes, to do things like a short workout or walk around the block. It's important to never skip a break, even if you feel like you could go a bit longer. This helps us avoid concentrating to the point of exhaustion, and we can keep energized throughout our study session. Naturally, this technique relies on having a timer. You can use a website or an extension, or just an old-fashioned stopwatch if you don't want to have to rely on a computer. Another popular and related method is the time-boxing technique. Time-boxing is a time management practice where we set aside time to do one activity within a specific time frame. Once we reach the end, we move on to the next task. It's basically like forming a calendar specifically for your to-do list. There are 2 approaches to time-boxing that might help us out. Hard time-boxing means that we drop everything that we're doing and immediately start the next task. On the flip side, soft time boxes mean that you can spend a few more minutes finishing up an activity before moving on. It's probably best to use hard time boxing when you start off, so you don't spend too much time on one activity or continue studying one subject when you really should be moving on. Remember that it's tempting sometimes to keep studying our easy subjects rather than moving on to something that's harder and needs our attention. The benefits of time boxing include feeling accomplished. You can look back at a day and think, yeah, I actually got all of that stuff done. And we have the ability within time boxing to break down complex tasks and help prioritize deadlines. It basically ticks a lot of the boxes that we speak about when it comes to beating the negative feelings that prompt procrastination. In the end, procrastination comes from avoiding discomfort. Knowing this means that we can develop strategies to beat it. And as a quick recap, pause the video here and see how much you remember about these different strategies based on the following questions. Whether it's binge watching some TV or reformatting our notes, all of us are guilty of some form of procrastination at one point or another. Whilst breaks are really useful, we don't want them to become massive eaters of our precious time. In the end, the trick is to create rules that we can use to jolt us into action and stay on task. We can practice these rules until they're second nature to us. Thanks everyone. See you soon.